Hey guys, welcome to another commentary done by Diggity. Sorry I haven't been around for a little bit, been preoccupied with other things. UCSD Winter Games Fest last weekend, I'll be trying to do those replays pretty quickly here. Also did some stamina games, also did some Fnatic games which are still processing, not quite up yet. This match is between Canata and Ruby, and we saw Canata just a second ago, part of Lost Saga MSL Group G, and how epic does that sound? And also did coincidentally Commentator Idol, check out that. I was a guest judge just today. That should be posted in the near future, and I do know who is advancing and who's not, so I have power, mwahaha. Spoilers, I guess. There we have Canata at the 6 o'clock position as the yellow Terran, 12 o'clock position. We have Ruby as the purple Terran, and this is going to be on Destination. And overall, I've got to favor Canata. Canata is just a Terran versus Terran specialist. He's particularly good with Vultures, and I think Vultures can play a big effect on this map, particularly when they're in combination with dropships, with the air, using mines basically to lay some protection at your ramp, and then pressing forward. We'll see if Ruby decides to go the air route to pseudo-counter that, although I don't know that Wraith are a very good counter, because first of all, it's a soft counter. Yes, Vultures cannot attack air. They can't take down Wraiths, but Vultures are cheap, they build fast, and Wraiths just don't do a lot of damage to them, so sometimes you can just keep firing them up if you can keep them preoccupied with micromanagement, especially just one or two Wraith, and just keep the dropships pumping, things like that. It almost feels like a war of attrition in that stage, but I don't know that that'll happen here. I'm just saying it happens. You know, it's crazy, but it happens. You never know what happens in StarCraft. Supply depot actually being built at a little of an offset position there by Ruby. I think maybe in anticipation of the drop in the back of his base, which is very intelligent. And with neither player going for front door seals, so both players perhaps going for more of an aggressive posture, maybe thinking about two-factory push both directions, which would be epic. I haven't seen a two-factory on two-factory game in quite some time either. And it's really fun to see the Vulture on Vulture action, and I think, again, that would favor Canata, because, again, so efficient with those Vultures. But on Destination, because of those ramps, you really do have to take to the air, or you have to get, some sort of fast unit out there. And a barracks being built at the off position for scouting as well there for Ruby. So Ruby really playing this. He's definitely thinking of going on the offensive. He's doing everything to indicate that he's thinking about an offensive game at this stage, getting his gas down now. And it looks like Canata the same thing. Yeah, he's building that barracks to the forward position so he can lift it up, I should say, and get that scout up to the more northern position and be a little bit more aggressive in that regard as well. So neither player... neither player going for more of a safe build. They're both going to go directly head-to-head, and this is going to be absolutely epic. So we're going to have to see a micro-fest here. Between the two of them, again, I think Canata is just better with Terran mech, which you'll see in Terran versus Terran. I don't expect to see Ruby put something down at an off position just to go to switch to bio. And it looks like first scout out here by Ruby, and I think that'll be a big advantage in this particular set, in this particular matchup, just because Canata also going very aggressive. There we're seeing the statistics of who's being favored, and it looks like Canata is being heavily favored, 74 to 26%, which I don't disagree with. A single Marine being produced, I assume to ward off that scout. We'll see if Canata is also building or if he's just going to allow that Vulture to be built first and leave that front door open. Otherwise, now that factory also going out, he's producing a Marine as well. SCV a little bit, this is going to be a big advantage to Ruby, I think, because he's going to be able to scout and see that the front door is open, that barracks built to the forward position, that factory going down, and I think he's going to be, as a result, he'll be able to adjust perhaps a little bit better. We'll see if Canata decides to change his game plan. He's going to be playing somewhat in the dark. He's not going to know what Ruby's up to, and we'll see if Ruby decides to go for the air advantage rather than the second factory advantage, knowing what he's going to be going up against to a degree. So, or a pretty good idea what he's going up against. 2 Marines being produced instead of 1 as well to try to ward that away, and there's that second factory. So, and I think, again, I think that Ruby has a good bearing on this, and no second factory yet from Ruby. Again, I think he might be going air. We'll see momentarily. I think this SCV will be the indicator, or maybe no, he's going for an expansion. Wow, coming down, bringing the SCV to the forward position, so just putting down the single factory, and it feels like he can absorb the attack instead of pushing forward. So I think he was initially thinking, and there's Canata putting down the starport, going to go for that Vulture drop like I was saying. So I guess he feels like, wow, well, okay, if Kanata's going to push into me, I can absorb his attack, and it will do so, and I'll play a little bit more of a defensive map. Oh man, scout slipping through. Ruby able to get another scout through, so he's going to be able to see this air unless a Vulture is going to be popping out really quick. But no, machine shop down first. Vulture's going to be somewhat delayed. Kanata's entire game plan being laid out now for Ruby, and this is just absolutely disastrous. SCV, oh wow, that was huge. SCV on SCV fight. So maybe Ruby will be less suspect, won't think a drop's coming, is thinking more of a ground attack's coming. But I've got to assume he's just a more intelligent player than that he will. And there's that second factory going down now. I don't know if he cancels that command center instead, so it looks like a command center in between expansions. He's just going to try to basically play that gap, and now that barracks, that all-important barracks floating in, and he's going to be able to, it doesn't look like he's in position to see that starport, but he's still going to see the two factories and what's being produced there, and we'll see, basically it's going to come down to Canata and Micro and pushing up. There is a ramp to defend the main to help out a little bit there, and then again, it sometimes favors the defender, I think, just because of the way it's positioned. It looks like the Marine's still hitting away against that, and I think this is brilliant by Canata. I think Canata, what he can do is he can just kind of posture as though he's going more of a vulture attack, more of just ground-based, mix in the tanks and then bring the dropship alongside and completely catch Ruby off guard, and I think this might be successful. There's that first tank coming out, able to sneak through and pick off, it looks like, at least on SCV, and that's not enough vultures on the ground. He's going to have to retreat. There's that tank up in the mix, and that tank, if it gets surrounded by SCVs, could fight them off. No, Canata going to retreat. That tank holding the ramp now. Ruby's just going to leave that secondary up and not really worry about it. There's that dropship being produced. Unfortunately for him, he does not have the troops to fight this off at this stage. That is a lot of vultures on the ground. With that mine upgrade, which I assume is finished, he's easily going to be able to take care of that tank. I think Ruby has lost this game. Canata is going to be able to take it, and I think Ruby just completely caught off guard. Well, not completely caught off guard, but caught off guard at the very least. Those dropships going to be able to drop well out of that tank siege range, and even if that tank remains sieged or sieges up at some other position, that dropship's going to be able to land on top of them. Marine not there to help deal with the dropship. Beautiful play by Canata, just so good TVT, able to kill. I guess he was expecting Wraith to come in at this stage and not seeing the Wraith. Mines being planted along the backside, canceling the armory, and and that tank going to have a difficult position. Now we'll see if the vultures come in, and it looks like there are some support vultures, but let's see if they get dropped on top of. Being dropped on the ridge. There it is. Brilliant, and dropping a mine as well. That mine going to be able to take that tank out. There we go there. There's some vultures coming back to the forward position, try to defend here, try to protect that secondary, but that tank going to get dropped on Ruby's base in complete breach. Let's see if Canata can do enough damage before that production kicks in. He's got to do a lot of damage very quickly, though, keep in mind, because even with this attack, he needs to make sure that Ruby can't just isolate and keep his attack force up. I think Canata will be able to do enough damage and keep the SCV count down specifically and continue the pressure to win this, but it's not a complete done deal at this stage. More vultures dropping. I think now it is a complete done deal. That forward tank being killed, one vulture lost, but now those SCVs completely undefended, and once they're wiped out, Canata will take the economic advantage, and as a result, the troop count. A Wraith coming up alongside, no anti-air. Excellent, excellent play all around from Canata, and you can see why he is so good Terran versus Terran, planting mines down the ramp just in case some tanks are coming down to defend it. He can bring those Wraith back. It looks like that SCV trying to get an armory up, not able to. We'll see if some Marines being produced. There's just not a lot of SCVs on the ground in general for Ruby. As you can see, just very thin on the SCVs. Canata's done so much economic damage. Bringing up another SCV, and Canata can at this stage take an expansion if he wants to, and there Ruby actually looks like for a moment was able to get a superior attack force out, but just too much economic damage to really compensate. Their GG's. Canata takes the game. Beautiful play by Canata. He's so good at Terran versus Terran. And I know most all-Terran groups are boring, but just the players in this will make it exciting. I guarantee it. We've got Frisian in here too, as well as Nada. So that's the next game. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Thanks for listening.